The Law Enforcement Tech Minute series is brought to you by the IACP. This Law Enforcement Technology Minute video is sponsored by the Digital Boundary Group.
I'm Commander Eric Scarpin, and this is your Law Enforcement Technology Minute. How cybersecurity affects chiefs. Welcome to the second part of our two-part special on how cybersecurity affects chiefs. 10 years ago, chiefs in general were not thinking about cybersecurity. However, the environment has changed, and cybersecurity should be as relevant to chiefs as evidence room security. Why? Well, let's review some of the reasons a chief should be aware of cybersecurity issues. Third-party audits often reveal security vulnerabilities. Two cybersecurity practitioners were asked what they most often hear when they do a cybersecurity audit on a police agency. The first response relates to when they're working with police staff during the audit. It's not possible to do what you just did. In many cases, agency IT specialists don't fully comprehend the nature and capability of a skilled attacker. The second response most often heard during the post-mortem of a successful cyber attack: the attack was not very sophisticated. In many cases, this means that the solution to prevent the attack was also not that sophisticated. But the attackers got in nonetheless. This is not to question the abilities of IT staff by any means, but their job is often one of changing and multiple priorities, trying to get the job done with not enough staff, and not having the time to pursue current attack techniques. That's why someone who specializes in cybersecurity is much more adept at finding security vulnerabilities and preventing successful cyber attacks. So as a police executive, how do you protect your organization and your office from a malicious cyber attack? How can you be more assured that your investigations are well protected? A new accountability. News media reports in 2014 focused on a major security breach and the aftermath of that breach. As indicated in the media, Greg Steinhoffel, the U.S. Target Chief Executive Officer, lost his position due to a successful cyber attack months previously. It's an interesting observation that the responsibility for this breach fell right up to the executive's office. In this case, the highest position in an organization was held accountable. In years past, the public may have been more understanding of IT failures. The current expectation is that the person in charge of the organization is ensuring the security of the data, much the same way the chief would ensure the security of the evidence room. Greater accountability for data breaches will be an emerging trend. Chiefs need to know more about cybersecurity. The IACP and the CACP survey last year indicated that chiefs agree with both of these two statements. Real-world experience from third-party audits. The following scenarios are from real cybersecurity audits in the last year. Would the results in your organization be significantly different? Experience 1. Social engineering exploit. Cybersecurity testers watched a company to better understand their access security. They then created fake ID cards. They weren't perfect, but from a few feet away, they looked pretty good. They arrived with an armload of boxes and made it look like they were struggling to use their card to get access. Helpful and polite employees held the door open for them. Once the testers were in, they got network access, logged in, and took control of the system. Unauthorized external access from an unusual source. Cybersecurity testers visited the local library in the town of the police service that they were auditing. They plugged into a computer network jack in the library. They found the network link to the police information systems through the city system. They then gained unauthorized access to the police records management system, website, portal database access. When serving the public created a vulnerability. Cybersecurity testers did a security test on a police web portal where the public did registrations of lost or stolen bicycles. The testers used software vulnerabilities to work through the bike registration software to gain access and set up a user account. From this account, they were able to get access to the Police Human Resources database. They gained access to the names and home addresses of sworn officers on that police service. Social engineering exploit. Who really sent me this email? Cybersecurity testers searched the internet and social media and other sites that would supply information about members of a police service. They managed to identify the email addresses of police employees and sent a targeted email attack called phishing, where they pretended to be the IT director. A number of employees responded with their sign-in credentials. The testers then logged in and acquired the ability to alter access rights to the system. 15 minutes into a standard cybersecurity audit, a site that was considered to be secure and vigilant was audited. In 15 minutes, cybersecurity testers acquired the ability to control all access to the system. In less than 1 hour, they gained control of the police service firewall console and all internal network switches. Access to a system gained through an old trick. An audit was being done on a site that generally had done very well in their security posture. But the testers dropped some USB keys in the police parking lot. Within minutes, a Good Samaritan member brought the USB key into the building. They plugged it into their computer to see if they could determine who owned the USB key. A piece of software known as a Trojan horse automatically loaded and connected back to the company doing the audit. The testers took over complete control of 2 computers where this was plugged in, providing them with access to the system. What else was found during these audits? In some cases, it was found that software updates had been installed to fix the infamous Heartbleed vulnerability, but actual testing found that the vulnerability still existed on the system. So while administrators felt that their system was safe from the Heartbleed attack, that particular vulnerability could have easily been exploited on their system. In every case, vulnerabilities were found. The interesting thing is that the fixes were usually not expensive fixes, such as buying new software or security servers. Often, the solution was found in upgrading software, applying patches, security settings, and education of staff. Would your sites be any different than the ones tested? Emerging security issues. At times, there's a significant amount of time between when a security vulnerability is found and when it's fixed. As an example, the Heartbleed problem was identified in the media many days before a solution was available. Once the fix is available, your people must acquire the fix, load it, and test it in both production and test systems. So more time goes by. In the meantime, cyber attackers are working 24 hours a day to take advantage of the vulnerability. The issue is, what action is necessary in your organization when a vulnerability is identified? At times, it's easy to assume that the vulnerability in the news is someone else's problem. But in these cases, your organization should take immediate action, protecting you and your organization with due diligence. So then what action is recommended as best practices for cybersecurity for police agencies? First, ensure you're doing third-party cybersecurity audits. Second, know what you're getting in the audits. What are the security testers assessing? What are you learning? And how are you to respond? In conclusion, we're facing new and emerging threats. You can be attacked, and many have already been. Third-party audits will assist in finding vulnerabilities and fixing them. But what if you haven't budgeted funds for a third-party audit? What if your evidence room door had been left unlocked over a 3-day period? Officers would be found to guard the door and protect the evidence. But often cybersecurity auditing is left to its own devices. It must be accepted as a cost of doing business. Cybersecurity breaches can hurt you and your community. There are real-world consequences to cybersecurity within the police environment. The threats are there. Are you prepared? As with any of our videos in the Law Enforcement Technology Minute series, more information can be found on the IACP.org. Until next time, I'm Commander Eric Scarpin, and that is your Law Enforcement Technology Minute.
This Law Enforcement Technology Minute video is sponsored by the Digital Boundary Group.